I'm William Kumwembe with Business Time. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country and courtesy of Old Mutual.
Insuring and saving with Old Mutual means growing crops, growing jobs, growing a future. Creating mutual futures, your money invested for the good of all.
Coming up in the program today, we speak with Old Mutual on performance of the year this far. And also in the program, World Bank's tips Malawi on fixing the economy. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. In our main story in the program today, it is just about 3 weeks before end of 2023, a year many commentators have already rated as one to forget for most businesses in the country. In the year, the local economy was characterized by myriad challenges, including acute shortage of forex, with almost all macroeconomic fundamentals seen in red. Inflation, the rate at which commodity prices change at a given time in an economy, has been rocketing, seen at 26.9% in October 2023. The local unit, the Kwacha, also remained volatile for a greater part of the year, largely due to glaring imbalances between supply and demand for forex on the local market. Our journalist Justin Kweo caught up with Old Mutual Investment Group economist Mrs. Gondwe on the firm's take on the trends and projections for the year ahead.
2023 has been a year and it's finally coming to an end. This is December and we can say that we have lived the 12 months of 2023. But things have happened. We saw a devaluation somewhere in May, and then we saw the recent one in November. We have seen auctions for the first time at the Reserve Bank of Malawi, and many other things that have happened with the economy. These are just some of what we are going to talk about in this interview, as I'm joined by an economist from Old Mutual Group, Mrs. Gondwe. Yeah. So first of all, just take us through 2023. How can you describe the performance of the economy?
Thank you very much, Justin. So 2023 has been another challenging year. So we're coming from about 3 years facing a number of significant shocks. Yeah. We had the COVID-19 2020, the cyclone Anna Gombe 2022. Yeah. And when we thought 2023, we should now start recovering. That's where now we experienced the cyclone Freddy. Yeah. So if we track key performance of our key economic indicators, you note that most of them haven't performed so well. Mm. For instance, headline inflation, currently we at around 27%. Yes. But the average, according to IMF, is to around 30%. So that's a significant jump from the 21% last year. And that has been fueled by the currency devaluation in November 2023. Mm-hmm. Going to interest rates, because of the rise in inflation, they have also tracked upward. Currently, talk of base lending rates, they're averaging around 24%. Last year, the same period, we around 16%. Mm-hmm. And because of that, you note that even on the overall economic growth, the pressure has been very high. Yeah. Currently, the average prospect is to an average of 1.6%. Yet, when opening this year in January, the prospect were to recovery to around 3%. Mm. So all these indicators are just pointing to say the economy is not performing so well this year.
So you have talked about the devaluation. We have had two major ones this year, and we also saw some kind of a depreciations or something like that because of the auctions that the Reserve Bank was doing. But I think the most biting one has been the 44%, which happened last month in November. And devaluation affects the exchange rate, and the exchange rate being one of macroeconomic indicators of the performance of the economy. What do you think is the impact of the devaluation on development?
Thank you very much. So first we need to understand that a devaluation or an exchange rate is the price of foreign currency. So with a devaluation, it means the price has gone up. Yeah. We are giving more kwajas in exchange to $1. Yeah. And also considering that our economy is a net importer, it means we can't do without foreign exchange. It means we'll still be forced to drain our reserves in order for us to import the goods and services that we do. And with the price now going up, it means that these goods and services that we import have increased in terms of the price. And that will result even in the increase in the cost of production, because we also import even raw materials. And you have noted that even other commodities like fuel have also gone up in terms of the price, because foreign exchange is also used as an input in the determination of the price.
Yeah.
So with the devaluation, the first thing that we'll note, and we've already started experiencing, is the rise in the commodities and services on the domestic market. And also because there is now that relationship between inflation and interest rates, we should also expect further pressure on interest rates. Currently, going by the Monetary Policy Committee calendar, likely they should be meeting January.
Yes.
So we're expecting that they will hike further the policy rate, and that should elevate further the level of interest rates, and it dampen even further the economic prospects. So if you note, the impact firstly is from the prices, interest rates, and then overall economy. So it should have adverse effect.
Do you think this will affect the expected GDP growth for the country?
Exactly. As I've indicated, we're expecting that interest rate should go up. And you and me who would want, for instance, to go to banks and borrow, it means we'll be somehow will be obscured, because the price of money, which is interest rate, has gone up. So the demand should also decline.
Yeah.
So it means even those investments that were planned going forward, some of them may not materialize. Consumption will also be slowed down. So on the overall, the economic growth should also be dampened in terms of the prospects.
We have looked much about macroeconomic fundamentals and the big economy at large. But what do you think is what does the current economic environment mean to households?
The very pertinent question, because I think from jobs, whatever, we'll go back to our houses.
Yes.
So with prices going up as a result of the devaluation, it means with whatever money we earn from businesses, from our jobs, we'll now be able to buy fewer goods than what we used to be to buy. So that's a challenge on our affordability because of the rise in the cost of living. As a result, with the devaluation, the consequent rise in the prices, we should see more households getting into poverty, and that means the poverty levels will go up. There will be slowed down in demand, even for firms, because if you don't demand, they will not sell.
Yeah.
So even their income lines will also be affected. While on the expenditure side, because of the rise in the prices, those should go up. So even those other small businesses, even for business continuity, there should be a challenge. Some may even close down.
Now, if I'm affected as a household, does that mean anything to the larger economy?
Exactly, because the larger economy is basically an aggregation of these smaller units, the households, the companies. So it will start, for instance, from the households, the companies, and when we aggregate, that should inform the depressed economic performance on the overall.
Looking at the current environment in terms of the economy, what should Malawians look forward to? What do you think will be the performance going forward?
Thank you. So first of all, this is not the first time Malawi has experienced a shock. If you go to my grandfather, I will tell you that in 1949 there was a very severe famine, but 4 years down the line, things got to normal. Go to 2012, the same thing.
Yes.
2022, the same thing. So with economics, it will even tell you that you don't expect growth to be a linear graph. There are those ups and downs. When you go up, you go down at one point. So even with the current economic cycle, there are those prospects that will recover. What will be key is for us to do the right things at all levels, from households, firms, the public sector, and even the private sector, for us to at least cushion ourselves from these recurring shocks. But in terms of prospects, likely will recover.
That's how we wrap up with Ms. Sozi Gondwe, an economist at Old Mutual Investment Group. Economics looks at many things, but some of them is what was, what is, and what will be. What was is something like inflation, how it has risen. What is the economic environment now, and what will be is the growth that we anticipate. For example, she's saying that if we do the right things, we are likely to recover, but only if we do the right things.
The Malawi Revenue Authority has said its block management system, which it introduced in 2021, has attracted about 5,400 new taxpayers within 2 years. This was revealed last week in Blantyre at the beginning of a 2-day media training the authority organized. MRA Head of Corporate Affairs, Stephen Kapuloma, said more taxpayers would be brought into the tax net. He added that Revenue Collection Body will expand use of the system to other cities, districts, as well as municipalities. Justin Kweu has more.
Block management system is a system that was designed and implemented by the Malawi Revenue Authority, where a certain area is assigned to a person from MRA to manage in terms of taxes. This system is believed to be effective as everyone is included in the taxation basket. Meanwhile, Malawi Revenue Authority touted the system. The presence on the system were revealed during a 2-day media training which the authority had organized in Blantyre. MRA Head of Corporate Affairs Stephen Kapuloma said the system so far has managed to woo in 5,400 new taxpayers which were not in the system before. And he said this is a big improvement, but there are more taxpayers who will be brought into the tax net through the same system. He added that even though currently they have only implemented the system in Blantyre, Lilongwe and Mzuzu, they will be expanding to other cities, districts and municipals so that the tax bracket is wider.
The block management system is a new way of managing micro, small and medium taxpayers. And since the introduction of the block management system, we have been able to bring new taxpayers into the tax net and thereby broadening the tax net. I think over 5,000 taxpayers have been brought into the net, and these are contributing to the economy of this country by paying their fair share of taxes. We believe that we have a very big role to play and a long way journey to bring more people, because we believe that there are hundreds of thousands of taxpayers out there that are not yet registered with the MRA, and it is incumbent upon us to reach out to these small and medium enterprises that are not registered to register so that they too can pay their fair share of taxes. And that's why we have the presumptive tax, something that is very manageable. They do not need to keep records. All they need to know is how much money they would pay every quarter, something like 27,000 or more. So we were looking at reaching out to more taxpayers, not only in the cities as it is now, but even in the district, so that in the taxpayers, small, medium and micro, that are existing in the districts, they are also able to participate in the economy. As Malawi Revenue Authority, we believe that taxes is the engine for economic growth in this country. And as any other engine, you cannot switch it off. And for us as Malawi Revenue Authority, our goal is to make sure that we collect as much as we can so that the economy continues to run. And our focus is mainly on those that are not complying now. That's why all our interventions are focusing on taxpayers that are either evading or hiding their income. We are doing a lot of audits. We are using third-party data to be able to unearth the kind of income that they have not been declaring to us. And through that, and also through the block management system, where we're going to bring more taxpayers into the tax net, we should be able to meet the target.
On media engagement, Kapuloma said they decided to engage the media because it is vital in transforming information to the masses about taxation. He believes for this to be effectively done, journalists should have clear information not only about tax, but also about MRA as an organization mandated to do the work. One of the journalists who attended the training, Alex Banda, applauded the authority for the training, describing it as an eye-opener.
You know, issues of taxation are important. Not only does it help the country to build its reserves in as far as revenue is concerned. It also talks or speaks about maybe how government can use the same to other social sectors of the country, social needs. So I feel like a journalist, this has imparted knowledge in me on how best to transfer this knowledge to my audience, to understand the need to comply to taxes, and of course, how that is going to build them as entrepreneurs economically, and of course, boost the country's revenue. Issues of taxation are, of course, tough to understand. Not only those that have actually studied taxation, but for us as well as journalists, it is important to just get what the surface meaning of taxation is and how crucial it is. That is going to help us in dissemination of information. But there are several other sectors out there that are too technical, that would require them to come to us, mining, construction, just to mention but some, which need to come to us, enlighten us, or learn us through the processes so that we understand what it means to be part of that sector and how we can relay the information that is happening in those boardrooms, in those offices, in the mining sector to the masses so that they understand with a better view.
Apart from the block management system, MRA also trained journalists in presumptive tax, MRA for change, tax stamps, and other areas of interest to the media.
Remember, this is Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country, courtesy of Old Mutual. We'll be right back.
Ku Malawi timanena kuti chuma chili mu nthaka. Ndipo izi ndizoona. Mutha kuziona zimenezi paliponse. Dzina langa ndi Chris Gadimani, ndipo ndimayang'anira banja langa pogwira ntchito ku Galamax Macadamia Nut Farm. Zonse zimayambira pa Nazale pano. Timasamalira mphukira kuti tikwanitse kudzala mitengo yambiri. Mitengo iyi ikakula, timasankhamo mtedza wabwino kwambiri okhaokha. Timafuna kuti mtedza wa Macadamia wa ku Malawi uzidziwika kuti ndi wabwino koposa. Tikakolola kwambiri, timalembanso ntchito anthu ambiri. Ndimakhala onyadira kukhala nawo otenga mbali mu zimenezi.
From the soil comes endless possibilities. That's why Old Mutual is investing for the long term from the ground up. We call this creating mutual futures. Old Mutual, let's do great things every day.
Welcome back. The World Bank has said Malawi still has potential to rejuvenate her economy only if it uses systematically the financial support trickling in from development partners after an International Monetary Fund IMF Executive Board approved a 4-year $174 million extended credit facility program for Malawi on November 15. Development partners are unlocking support to Malawi with some promising direct budget support. For instance, recently the World Bank Executive Board approved a $60 million, which is about 102 billion kwacha grant, which will help commercial banks in Malawi to have access to an import basket facility from the International Development Association. We have the whole story in this report.
Early this month, the Reserve Bank of Malawi, RBM, announced a 44% devaluation of the Malawi kwacha. The devaluation saw the local unit trading at 1,700 kwacha to $1. But at least there was good news last month as well. The International Monetary Fund Executive Board approved a $174 million extended credit facility to Malawi in the next 4 years. The World Bank believes that with the ECF, the devaluation, and other economic decisions that have been made, the country can return. World Bank country manager for Malawi, Hugh Riddell, said the country has numerous opportunities to exploit, and if well managed with the recently approved extended credit facility from the IMF, the current moment could be the turning point and the awakening of a giant. He is of the view that high-value chains such as macadamia, industrial hemp, ethanol, and mining. These are minerals like rutile, graphite, and rare earth need targeted support because of their high potential to broaden the export basket and expand forex streams. He said going into the immediate to medium terms, exports have the potential to drive growth, but Malawi must break the dysfunctional cycle in which chronic trade imbalances and restrictive trade policies reinforce each other. The Bretton Woods Institution has expressed commitment to keep supporting Malawi in its quest to grow the economy and increase exports to narrow the trade imbalance that the country has. Minister of Trade and Industry, Sosten Gwengwe, said government has made strides in making sure that the private sector strives and exports for the country improve. Gwengwe cited achievements such as advancements in establishment of special economic zones, reduction of energy challenges, improved availability of foreign exchange, and improvement of trade facilitation between Malawi and other countries, among others.
Manufacturing and export value-added products, because that is the sure way of building a solid economy. And this meeting really was just to get one step ahead, that as the economy is stabilizing, would want to align with private sector in this country so that the policy inconsistencies that we've been having, we should actually be aligned so that we encourage our private sector, we encourage our manufacturers specifically to produce more for export and build a resilient and a sound economy going forward.
One of the country's exporters, Pixas Agriculture, said it is indeed important that government and the private sector should come together and deliberate ways in which exports can be improved.
Timing is right, the signaling and the messaging is right to have two full ministers and the head of World Bank come together to say, guys, in the manufacturing space, in the exporting space, after the currency realignment, which was necessary and which is a good move, how can we really grow the fiscus? How can we sit down together and look at the challenges and make sure that from here on out we are walking hand in hand and eliminating the roadblocks so that the private sector, the tax base, and the export manufacturers can get into the good space.
Malawi is a net importing and consuming nation, highly dependent on exporting raw agricultural produce, with tobacco as the main foreign exchange earner.
Now, the Financial Inclusion and Entrepreneurship Scaling Project of the Reserve Bank has reached about 43,887 macro, small and medium enterprises. This has resulted in the project dispersing loans worth $51.9 million as of November this year. This was revealed over the weekend when the first cohort of MSMEs who were trained in capacity building was graduating in Blantyre. Finis project manager is Raf Tseka and says the project has so far accorded more opportunities to SMEs.
We have disbursed close to 47 million US dollars to the SMEs. So you can actually see those are huge amount of funds which have actually gone in the sector of SMEs. Yeah, as you can see that in most cases, the SMEs is actually a neglected sector if you want, but not necessarily a neglected sector, but they are the ones who identified that they lack capacities, number one. Number two, they like financing. So by providing a reasonable financing to them, it was envisaged that this would boost their businesses, they would create employment, and thereby actually increase incomes for the whole economy. I can say that the project has succeeded very well. Being in the third year, our absorption rate now has reached 86%, which is quite a very high absorption rate. Another good thing is that we were actually targeting women. We've basically reached out to 30,000 women as we speak today. And in terms of the youth as well, 7,000 youth and about 4.5 thousand men. So you can actually see that our targets have basically been met.
One of the graduates, Susan Chata, applauded the training, indicating that it has been an eye-opener. She says the training provoked their thoughts into innovative ideas in business and look differently on ways that they can help in growing their businesses.
A unique training, because each and every week it was provoking us to do new things in our businesses. How can you actually improve at the way you're doing things? What are the strategies that you will implement in your business? Each week we were having new things that we can improve through our business, whether it be through the marketing. What other strategies would you actually look into your business? And also the feedback. You also need to give yourself feedback in terms of what you've implemented, what you've actually done in your business. So for me, honestly, it has been something that has helped us through in our business, because there were new things that we were doing. And at times you do business without a plan, but it has taught us we need, first of all, to also have a goal.
Well, that story also brings us to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country, courtesy of Old Mutual. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, then it doesn't make sense. Stay safe and bye for now.
Brought to you by Old Mutual. Creating mutual futures, your money invested for the good of all.